Hello guys, welcome to Moon Recap. If you don't subscribe this channel, subscribe and enjoy every time. Also like and add your comment and share for someone want this. This romantic tale starts with a young lady whose name is Tessa, and it is her most memorable day in a brand new school that is a piece far away. Her mom and sweetheart choose to drop her to her new school quarters. There she is presented with two young ladies, whose name are Steph, and close to her is Tristan. Obviously these young ladies are extremely cordial and exceptionally garrulous. Her mom smells some weed and leaves there, yet Tessa follows her and asks her to not cause a ruckus. She guarantees to believe her on this one, as she guarantees her mom is pleased with her and wish her well prior to leaving the school. Tessa's sweetheart likewise leaves in the wake of giving her a charming kiss. Tessa shows up back in her room, where Steph inquire as to whether she went nuts. Her mom, she think her sibling is adorable, yet she right her by telling he is her sweetheart. Steph leaves just later. Next morning she awakens and energetically strolls to her homeroom, where she tracked down a person whose name is Landon. He is an English major, as go against Tessa, whose major is financial matters. She looks invigorated and energetic for her classes. Back in her residence, she returns in the wake of cleaning up and finds a person sitting inside the room, perusing a book tranquilly. She was stunned to see him and requests that he leave, yet he tells her to not straighten herself since he isn't looking. Steph shows up there and affirms that it is her companion. Steph requests that she accompany them at the party, yet the person is certain that she won't join. Prior to leaving, he tells her the completion of the book she was perusing called Incredible Gatsby, thus ruining it. Following day, she was concentrating on in the library and again sees a similar person. This makes her truly awkward. While the two gets every other's eyes briefly later on, she is drawn nearer by Steph and requested to go on a party that evening. She demand not going, yet she choose to change things a piece. Tessa pick a dress to wear. Seeing it, Steph thinks it is all in all too formal. They are at long last at the party, whereas everybody is drinking and having a good time. Later Tessa is acquainted with every one of Steph's companions. There they request that she drink a bit. At first she falters, yet winds up drinking a shot just after a young lady from the gathering talks impolite about her. They choose to play a round of truth or dare. Tessa picked truth, and she is being asked where was the most insane spot. She had heartfelt second. She chooses to pass the inquiry and picks dare. All things being equal, the troublemaker from the gathering comes and inquire as to whether she maintain that should get it done. However, she is finished with the game and leaves. She called her sweetheart. However, he sort of chide her for drinking and she closes the call. Later she strolls into an unfilled extra space and checks the books out. She is again moved toward by the miscreant, who approach her what she was searching for. Tessa is concerned, assuming he is plastered, yet he guarantees her that he doesn't drink, very much such as herself. He uncovers to her that this is his room. While holding her hand, he inquires as to whether their challenge is still on. They were practically going to kiss. However, she leaves later saying she can't make it happen. While she strolls back to her room, she gets texts from her beau Noha, and around evening time, prior to bed. Following day she joins the class and finds a similar person called Landon and sits with him. While it is uncovered that the person from the party was likewise a rookie, whose name is Harind.seh. At the point when the teacher poses an inquiry about a sentiment book. He thinks love is only an exchange. Everybody is hardwired to want. Present the right arrangement of beneficial attributes, which can turn on and off. Then again, Tessa go against him that the ladies dismissed the man in the book when mistreated in old time, which was simply astounding. This happens briefly and Harind meets her after the class and tell her that it was invigorating and leaves. She begin to gripe to Landon that he is so self-important. Not too far off she is shocked to hear that Harind is connected with Landon. His mom is dating Harind's dad and they scarcely endure one another. Around evening time, Steph is getting a tattoo and requests that Tessa get a tattoo too. She uncovers that Noha is the only one she at any point dated and her mom thinks they will wed one day. Before bed she sees Steph is having a few heartfelt minutes with her young lady and she move away her face. Following day, she is getting an espresso and gets drawn closer by Harind that he is hoping to begin once again and be companion since Steph is their common companion. Harind needs to show a spot to her, yet she needs to stay away. She was practically going to leave. However, choose to happen with Harind. They go a couple of miles away in his vehicle, a spot that seems to be a wilderness. They walk somewhat further, where Tessa's eye gets a major lake, that he uncovers that this is his number one spot and requests that she swim. He removes his garments and bounces into the water. He demand getting into the water and proposition her his shirt. He turns away while she wears it. He gradually brings her into the water and begin getting a charge out of Tessa. Gets some information about the individual he cherishes the most, to which he uncovers himself. He gets some information about her beau and becomes more acquainted with he is a secondary school understudy. who cherishes her. He makes her pause her breathing and shows her a method of quiet. Harind was seeing her like she was some sort of illegal precious stone he had found. She asks her that he needed to be companion, yet he makes sense of they can never be and they start to kiss each other energetically. Later, he again move away his eyes so she can change, yet Tessa rather contacts him and they begin to have heartfelt minutes. Each touch she was encountering was causing her to inhale quicker. Afterward, together they go into a bar. Tessa gets some information about his previous existence, however he chooses to pass on the inquiry. She inquires as to for what reason does he not have faith in that frame of mind of the episode in class, however he tells her to not really accept that all that he says and makes Tessa snicker. In the meantime, Steph and one more companion of Harind comes and goes along with him, to which he starts to act a piece odd. Afterward, he uncovers to Tessa that every last bit of it was fun, yet he doesn't date, despite the fact that Tessa was going to tell about them to his sweetheart. Harind looks a piece disheartened after she leaves. Back in her residence, in the first part of the day she finds Harind sitting close to her. However, this was only a fantasy. Following day, she finds her bow remaining outside with blossoms. She could hardly imagine how he was there. Both Tessa and Noha joins a party around evening time, where Steph and her gathering choose to play the suck and blow game. At the point when Tessa's turn comes, she doesn't partake, to which she the Noha acts a piece defensive while Harind comes in the way and begin to battle. Harind leaves. Just later around evening time, Tessa was watching a film with Noha, yet is worried about something. Around evening time she gets a call from Landon and goes to meet her. She figures out that Harind and Landon had a battle and he referenced her name as well, so she could possibly help him. She becomes acquainted with that he is resentful about his dad getting hitched to Landon's mother, while her mom lives in a dump back in London. He breaks the glass and Tessa gets Harind attempting to get it. He takes her to his room and apologizes for how he treated her earlier. Harind makes sense of that he is a wreck, to which Tessa likewise feels that she is additionally a wreck. Seeing this, the two of them begin to have little heartfelt second. One thing lead to another and she wind up dozing over the course of the night in his room. She approaches Noha, who is truly stressed over her, just after he sees Harind remaining there and sorts out what is truly happening. He leaves the spot. Just later, she strolls back to her residence crushed. While getting seen by Molly, Tessa feels like she lost a closest companion. What she was feeling couldn't be portrayed in basic words. She was extremely miserable all through her classes and attempting to converse with Noha. One day she sees Harind outside and they choose to talk. He didn't anticipate seeing her. She began to portray how her dad left when she was only 10-year-old. Her mom couldn't expose this torment. When she was taking consideration for her, Noha was there to help. Noha is her dearest companion, yet he was a lot more. She uncovers at some point. Harind makes Tessa stay before the library closes. He peruses a book. While she is sitting in his lap, security finds them and pursue them. They snicker while taking off. This would have been a vital second for the two of them. Their connection was getting saw by their companions. Harind wouldn't hang tight for her group and come inside and call her. Delightful point. One day Tessa noticed Harind was composing something in the journal. She needs to see it, yet he bother her a ton, not excessively lengthy. Later, they begin to have heartfelt minutes. Unexpectedly, her mom opens the entryway and tracks down them in uncovering position. This was sufficient to drive her very mad. She began to blame her flatmate. She thinks Tessa will destroy her life in view of a kid. Tessa begin to contend and let her mom know that she will carry on with her life the manner in which she needs to. What's more, not the way in which she need to form it. This makes her mom furious and profound. Prior to leaving, she proposes that he will make her extremely upset and furthermore cut her off. She later discussions to Landon about this present circumstance. Yet he thinks Solidify is muddled. He proposes her to watch out. Solidify assumes Tessa to a position, who has a place with a companion of his dad's, who right now is dwelling in Italy. Harind proposed to live respectively here. Her mom removes her, so Harind needed to follow through with something. The two of them move into this spot and begin to carry on with a cheerful relationship. They hang out, giggle and partake in the little minutes. Both go to many places together. Harind actually can hardly imagine how she has a place with him now. He accepts that he doesn't merit her, while Tessa accepts nothing will impact the way she feel about him. They later go into wedding party of Harind and Landon guardians. The two meets with Landon's smooth Karen and father. They are satisfied to meet Tessa. Seeing his dad with one more ladies makes Harind profoundly steamed, to which Tessa attempt to quiet him. Solidify's father begin to give discourse before everyone individuals. Despite the fact that he is adulating Harind, he lets Tessa know that this isn't the dad who he developed up with. Despite the fact that he has changed, some things won't ever change. He begin to make sense of a situation. One day at a bar, His dad meddles with some unacceptable folks. At the point when they returned for the compensation at his home, he was unable to prevent them from following through with something to his genuine mother. Later, they begin to move while looking each other into the eyes. They go inside a room, where Tessa chooses to have a heartfelt second. At some point, Tessa is being looked with envy from Molly, and later she begin to ask her about her beau. She needs to find out about Harind, yet Tessa doesn't uncover loads of things. Afterward, Molly messages on Harind's telephone something that makes Tessa very dubious of Harind. At the point when she gets some information about the thing he is stowing away, he advise him to believe him, and there isn't anything to stow away. She is restless and believe that Harind should call. One of her companion texts her and advise her to meet at Videodrome and educate him concerning Harind. She sits in the vehicle and finds Jade there, who tells her that he may be at Blind Sways. There she tracks down Steph and her companions. She uncovers that she had been living with Harind off grounds. Molly uncovers that something is going on, yet not her thought process. She shows her a video of the day when they originally played Truth and Dare. Harind had been given a challenge to make her fall head over heels for her. After this occurs, he would simply switch it off. She was unable to accept her eyes and she is completely stunned. He comes clean with her. That isn't it was all previously, and his inclination were all evident. She leaves, not burning through any additional time. Right now, Tessa is feeling loneliest in the entire world. She returns to her home and meets her mom, who she embraces. She would rather not uncover what truly occurred, yet she was there to say that she was heartbroken. Tessa additionally express her affection toward her and later leave to meet Noha, who was pondering, for what reason was she there? She makes sense of that. She never needed to hurt him. That he was fine with that, and they begin to snicker. Tessa returns to the college and begin to compose an email to change her major from financial matters to English. In the interim, Harind couldn't move past their division and begins to cry, envisioning all the minutes they spend together. Afterward, she gets a meeting greeting in regards to her entry-level position in the Vance Distributing. Tessa was sitting in a talk, where later she was given an envelope by the educator, while she said Harind gave it to her and makes sense of how this was more for Tessa than herself. Tessa sees that Harind was attracting her photos, his notepad. She likewise peruses a writing from Harind, where he makes sense of, he read many books and just thought love was only a fiction. Until he tracked down his Elizabeth Bennet, he never figured he could be consumed absolutely by her, hold her hands, and where she will lead him out of the murkiness. He in conclusion request absolution. She once asked who he cherished generally on the planet. He uncovers that it is Tessa, and the film ends here. Thanks to watching this video. Don't forget subscribe for more and like this video. Also add your comments. See you by next video.